Mr. He's Radio Ralph. Now the red light is on, so just tune on in. Welcome to the show with Radio Ralph and his friends.
What's up, buddy?
Good show. I'm Radio Ralph here with JC tonight. We're ready to go. We're going to be joined by some guests here in a minute here on Radio Ralph and Friends. One that is returning and one that is a new face to us. So, yeah.
Well, we're excited, and we'll bring them on in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. Before I do that, I just wanted to ask Ralph, because I realized today we're coming up on it. When is the start of football season?
On the 9th of September.
9th of September, and who's the opening game? Who's the opening game?
We have Seattle and New England.
Oh, come on. Rematch?
Yeah.
Rematch of a Super Bowl nobody cared about? Come on, dude.
Yeah. That's
a bummer, dude.
Yeah, that wasn't the best. I don't know what they were wanting to go with on that. But.
Well, New England's going to have a horrible season this season. Okay, let me just get that out of the way. And also, we can't even like them anymore because Mike Vrabel is, toxic kind of. You know what I'm saying, Ralphie?
Yeah, on the pregame show, they're gonna have to address it somehow because ESPN won't touch it. But I'm sure.
Well, I'd like for them to bring Diana Rossini on for a nice little interview. have her do some color commentary, Ralph. That's what I'd like to see. Since it's not fair to me that he gets to go on and have a giant career, and she doesn't get to participate anymore. She's exiled. I don't like that at all, dude.
Oh, Rossini?
Yeah, I don't like that she's exiled. I don't like that she has no career anymore. It seems like she got. Why did she get the bulk of the judgment thrown at her? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't cool, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably because they probably invest a lot more into the coach than they do.
Yeah, exactly. He's a rich guy. Rich guys get a pass, dude. Still to this day, rich guys get the rich guy pass.
Yeah, I mean, I would have like Roger Goodell to be like, let's go ahead and have you do a 1-game suspension, something.
Well, yeah, for sure. And then also, like, if they're going to start the season, I don't even think, like, maybe do Seahawks with something more interesting. Like who could be, Seahawks Rams would be more interesting even in a way,
Yeah.
Like, give me a team that's going to be interesting this season. Yeah.
Yeah, the funny thing is they're starting on a Wednesday.
So, yeah, now they're going to do the international teams. And I hate to say this, but do you know how horrible, like, Canadian football teams are going to be, dude? Like, the Montreal Mastodons. Like, come on, dude. It's not going to be good. Do you want to set up our guests a little bit? Do you think they're getting close to ready? Because we've had them on before. This is Cardinal Mathew. If people remember from the Ecumenical Order of Christ, the EOC, they are followers of Lord Rael. Lord Rael is the second coming of Jesus, according to Lord Rael and his followers. And we, we're very interested in talking to them because in the world of the internet, where most people don't take people seriously and listen to them, we wanted to hear their story. And I think a lot of people want to hear their story, Ralph. I think it's actually, like, out of all the shows we've done, I think the most interest we've received has been about the EOC and Cardinal Mathew's really kind of testimony, kind of a beautiful testimony about his life and how he ended up where he's at now. Yes. From Australia to Mexico. And so I think that one of the things we're going to get into in a little more in-depth tonight that we didn't really touch on, which I'm excited about, is the Torah Codes with Cardinal Emil, which I hope I'm saying his name right, from Sweden, possibly. So it'll be our first Swede on the show, which is exciting. Our show's pretty international. Ralph, how international is our show? Isn't it odd? Our show's like so international, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, we started out with Arkansas, and we went to Kentucky, and now we've been international with Australia.
Been to the UK, been to Australia, going to Sweden tonight. It's kind of exciting, and I think we have a guest on Monday that's going to be a completely different thing. So it's just it's like traveling the world here. Me and Ralphie and little old Waco, Texas, just traveling around this whole wide world, talking to the most interesting people.
Yeah, it's a little smorgasbord as of late. And on Monday, I believe we have I believe he's also an author and does some stuff, and he's a creator. And well, I don't want to give away the.
Well, I want to say what it's going to be because I'm so excited about it. He's a kind of a big fan of the Dick Cavett show, and Dick Cavett was the only really kind of competitor to Johnny Carson back at Johnny Carson's heyday. Yes. And to me, Dick Cavett was kind of the pioneer of podcasting, kind of the pioneer of conversation that wasn't canned or prepared, or you always knew watching the late night shows that they were setting up a bit always, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I heard you're doing this now. Hey, tell me about you playing guitar or whatever it was. But Dick Cavett, he would just go on and he'd talk to people, and he was a beautiful man, a Midwestern man, and he did a show unlike, and nobody's ever done a show like the Dick Cavett show before or since. So I can't wait to talk to a fan of that show, so we can just celebrate the great man who is still alive, the great man that is Dick Cavett. I look forward to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm still efforting to try to get the man himself, so that'd be cool.
Well, hey, if you get Dick Cavett on, jeez, buddy. Me oh my oh, how about that now?
Yeah. They were just having a deal about Johnny Carson, how whenever he would have Dolly Parton come on, that he would play along with the bit, like he would act all nervous and stuff, and he would be like, "Oh, I don't know how to talk to her." Like, he was trying to be like the average guy or whatever,
Well, Johnny Carson, though, here's the thing, and everybody who knew Johnny knows this. He was kind of a douche. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. He's kind of
he was rich. He was rich, and he didn't really share his money. Like Dolly at least shared her money,
Hey, I was talking about this the other day. Dolly pretty much got us the COVID vaccine. And even though there's a lot of people who are like anti-vax now, and I'm kind of regret getting the COVID vaccine, I'm telling you this, her heart was in the right place. She was always trying to do good things in this world, man. Like, I found out Dolly would.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, even to the end, she took care of her sick husband, and then her health wasn't probably any good until after he passed, and then she finally tried to take care of herself,
Well, she maintained. It was weird because her husband and her lived in this little Tennessee town in a little Tennessee house, and her husband was just like a construction worker. He was like a regular dude, and they just were married forever. And she would go travel the world and travel these crazy stories, and then just come back to a really normal life, like Jimmy Carter was that same way. Jimmy Carter and Rosalind Carter, normal life and a huge world experience. It's a pretty cool thing when you think about it.
Yeah, humanitarian and all that. Yeah, definitely. Well, I think Mathew is ready. He's standing by, so I think we could bring him in.
Okay. Let's bring in Cardinal Mathew.
Yes. Welcome in, Cardinal Mathew. We have JC with us and me and Radio Ralph. Here we go. There we are.
Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah. So did you enjoy our backstage conversation? We were on stage conversation.
I did, absolutely. And as far as I know, Eric did as well.
Yes.
I'm loving the beard looks so well coiffed tonight, Mathew. You did something to it tonight. It looks very nice.
I didn't do anything at all.
Well, it's popping. It's popping in the lighting. It is popping, sir. How have you guys been out there? I was going to ask you right before I came on, I was making a pizza. And I was going to ask you just to I like to really find the human in everybody. What is your preferred pizza? What do you like on your pizza? Your favorite pizza?
I don't know why, I somehow knew you were going to ask me this question. It doesn't exist anymore, but there is a store in my hometown that used to make handmade pizzas, and they did burgers and fries and all that kind of thing. And there was one unique pizza that they had, and I just couldn't get enough of it. They called it a tropical. Now, think of a ham and pineapple pizza that also has really, or just slightly overripe banana on it as well.
Banana?
Yeah.
Wow. Holy
Everyone I mention it to looks at me like I've got three heads, but it is really good. The banana has to be at the right level of ripeness, though.
Yeah, well, now I got to research this thing. I got to try banana pizza.
I think CC's Pizza used to have pineapple or apple or something you could put on there or something.
Yeah, and that's always a big argument. A lot of people always say pineapple shouldn't belong on pizza, but I've never understood that. And now I think with Cardinal Mathew saying banana, he's going to make a lot of people very upset. A lot of people's brains are going to explode at that idea, but I want to try it now. I was telling Ralph before you came on, Cardinal, that your episode really the most interest we've had on a show we've done. So much interest, and we've really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
But last I checked, there was over 320 views.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing that Ralph figured out, the clips is where we get all our hits now. Ralph cuts the show up into like 30 different clips.
Yeah.
And that's where we get all our big hits from now, because on TikTok and Instagram, and Ralph puts it on like 8 different things. And really, I would imagine between the clips and the views, we're probably a couple thousand in on your episode, just everybody trying to like read about it, learn about it. And I think it's just because it's such an interesting story and the way you guys tell it and the way you talk. And I think there's something to it. So I'm really glad you joined us again.
Speaking of which, I've been looking forward to this since we finished the first one, to be honest. But there is something I need to make an apology for. There's something I told you when we last talked that wasn't 100% accurate.
Okay.
When I mentioned about when I went into all the seizures that the paramedics had to put me into the medically induced coma for.
Oh yeah.
That actually happened in 2002, not 2012. All the other events I described that happened around it are exact. That's all accurate. I just was off by a decade.
Time is such a weird thing. And I don't know, actually, I just had something very similar to that. I don't know if Ralph still has the picture or not, but I ended up 2-3 weeks ago in the hospital with a heat stroke. I've been walking in the heat, and they had to do an EKG. They put me in through like a CT scan. It was horrifying. It was horrifying.
Wow.
So, but we're here now. We're making it. We're doing well. So tonight we're going to be joined by another member of your group. Can you tell us about who's going to join us tonight, Cardinal?
Yep, Emil Johanson is his name. He's from Sweden, and second to Richard Ruff, who was also the prime cleric of the EOC, who was the one who actually introduced the Torah Codes as a concept to us. He's been studying them for over 20 years himself, but unfortunately, he was going to be on tonight but wasn't able to make it.
No problem.
Emil is probably one that's second to him in level terms of experience with the codes.
Okay.
I know how to do them myself. I just don't quite have the same gift for it that they do.
Now, can you do us a favor while we're waiting on Cardinal Emil to come on? Can you tell us a little bit about, because we kind of touched on it lightly, and I kind of confused I knew you pointed this out, but I was confusing the Torah codes with Jewish numerology. So can you help explain how we arrived at discovering these and what like give us the full back, because we just lightly touched on it last time, and I think it's very important to your guys' beliefs.
There is a prophecy within the book itself. It's called the prophecy of Daniel, which basically God is speaking to the prophet Daniel and says to him to seal up the book until the time of the end, when the knowledge shall be increased. And that's paraphrasing very poorly, I admit.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would argue we're in the period of history where knowledge is increased. Like everyone's got access to the world's knowledge in their pocket, basically. And
when you think about the internet, there's a joke this comedian Gary Goldman says, but I think it encapsulates what the internet is quite well. And the joke is that you can access every song ever, literally ever made, and it's at the tip of your fingertips. Where you used to buy CDs, you'd have to find cassettes. Yeah. Literally every song is a click away, and that's like every bit of knowledge kind of ever is a click. Every bit of human history knowledge is available to us now, which when you think about like what you're talking about there with the book of Daniel, it is crazy because that's like the ultimate knowledge in a way.
Absolutely. The one of the phenomenal things about it is in recent decades, I'm not sure how they came to this. Off the top of my head, I don't know how they came to this understanding, but Jewish rabbis began to believe that prophecy was pointing to messages hidden in the Torah and the Tanakh, and that they could be unlocked with a mathematical algorithm. So they began, this is manually doing it on paper initially because computers didn't exist at the time, trying to figure out this algorithm that could be used to search the Torah, the original 3,000-year-old text.
Yeah.
And then when computers came on, the whole process sped up dramatically. And then it was unlocked, and there's been codes found now that have, where, for example, you've got the search term which is related to the assassination of JFK. Some of the things that have been found, actually, I'll get Emil to jump in, see if he's available now,
Okay.
because he can probably explain this, or at least the two of us together.
While you're doing that, I want to kind of frame it a little bit for people so you have a moment to do that. Ralph, one of the things that when I first heard about Lord Rael and discovered, the EOC, it was kind of, and that's why I wanted to really talk to you guys, because I didn't like the way it was framed. Other people on the internet kind of framed it in a way that was critical and not open and not listening to you guys and almost joking, kind of making a caricature out of it. But what I really thought was crazy is even the critics of the EOC acknowledge that there's something kind of interesting about these Torah codes. Even the critics have to admit that, which I find really interesting. Even if your biggest critic still goes, there's something to that, that really means there's something to that, I think.
Yeah. Well, there are some detractors of the Torah Code that claim that everything that's in there is just there by random chance. Now, I have one single code that has been found, and there's many that can do it, but I can give you one example while we're waiting for Emil.
Yeah.
That proves that 100%. When I left Australia, I left a very bad personal situation. I was married, I had 2 sons, and my wife's whole immediate family, for reasons I still can't figure out, just seemed to hate me. And it was gradually getting worse as time went on. And I got to a point where I had to make a decision between trying to make that work in a situation where my wife would barely even talk to me but accuse me of not communicating, or doing what God wanted me to do.
Yeah.
And at least if I do what God wants me to do, I'm doing something which in the long run will be for the best of my... Getting a lot of that feedback noise again.
Yeah, Ralph, if there's any way you can take a look, Ralph, there is a little bit of a clicking, a little bit of static, and I'm not sure what it is, Ralph.
When my wife was pregnant with the second of them, he had a due date that was, I think, around the 10th of October of 2016. Some health problems came up, and she ended up having to be induced. That was early, about a month before the due date, so maybe around the 8th to 10th of September.
Okay.
And Richard himself did a code where the search term was the 16th of September. And
can you hear me?
Now,
Cardinal Emil, hello, Cardinal Emil.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't hear anyone, so I had to check the audio settings here.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Excellent.
Yay. So go ahead, Matthew. Finish your story real quick, Matthew. Go. Ralph.
Global stardom, Dolby captured her heart.
Let me reset them real quick. See.
Okay, yeah, if you can reset it, and then we'll bring in Cardinal Emil while you're resetting Matthew. Cardinal Emil, are you joining us from Mexico? I know you're from Sweden originally. Where are you as we speak to you these days?
Right now, I'm in the same house as Cardinal Mathew, actually.
Okay, very cool, very cool. So Cardinal Emil, in the down south, as it were. We're not that, we're kind of south too. We're in Waco, Texas. I don't know if you know where we're at. So I don't know if you know where Waco's at, but that's where we're based in. And so Cardinal Mathew is telling us about the Torah codes and giving us a little bit of his story and telling us kind of a date that was predicted in those codes. I think that was related to his personal life, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully you're back with us on an audio basis.
The audio seems better. The frequency is still there a little bit, but it's much better. And
Okay, that might work. Okay, go ahead, Betty.
Yep, one of the terms that was found in that code is actually the name of my son who was not yet born. And he ended up, and we had absolutely no control over this. He ended up being born on the exact date that was the search term of that code. And I think it was about an hour and a half after. Another term that was in there was Rael, his name was in there, and also the term mountain, which in some context biblically has been associated with things like a meteor or asteroid hitting the planet. And Richard was living in Queensland in Australia at the time. When this, an hour and a half or so after my son was born, an asteroid or a meteor came in through Earth's atmosphere, hit the ocean off the coast of Queensland.
Well, and that's one of the really special. I'm so glad you shared it with us, because to bring in Cardinal Emil here, and what we understand, if you can explain to us a little bit, I think is the way Mathew explained this to us, is you're very adept. You know a lot about these Torah codes, and the Torah codes are something that I was telling him, even the detractors of the Ecumenical Order of Christ, your church, even the detractors admit there's something special to them. So if you can tell us what you know about them, Cardinal Emil, and then also to just learn a hair about you for our audience, because there's so much interest in the EOC and what you guys are. And it's very important for people to see you as a complete and total, the humanity, not just a caricature, you as a person. So if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, just if you want a little bit, so we get to know you a little bit, and then kind of how you came into the Torah codes and what they are, and then we can walk through some of the kind of the interesting things you've discovered in them, because it sounds like there's a lot there.
All right. Well, I'm Cardinal Emil Johanson. I'm from Sweden originally. I've been with the Ecumenical Order of Christ since, I believe, 2013.
Wow.
And other than that, I've worked as a warehouse manager for a home electronics company in Sweden, and I also worked with e-commerce and web development. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, I guess. Should we get into the Torah Code?
I can tell this is your favorite thing, so tell us all about it.
That's the word on the street, I guess. Yeah, so I don't know what you've talked about already, but have you talked about the ELS thing? Or?
No, all I've really brought up was the September 16, 2016 code.
All right. So, well, what the Torah codes are, it's a way of decoding the Torah and finding hidden messages in terms within the Torah.
I did mention the prophecy of Daniel briefly as well.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it's prophetic messages that have been prophesied to be found, actually. So, well, what the method they use is what we call equidistant letter sequencing, and that is that you choose a term, and the computer searches the whole Tanakh, the Old Testament, for wherever those places, all those places where that term can be read, and it lines up those letters and verses and all the letters in a matrix. And from that matrix, you can search additional terms going diagonally or horizontally or vertically.
Now, who figured this out, and how did this get? Because this seems like it is a code. You've got to decode a code. So how is this kind of originate? Like, it's so interesting to me that they found this out and that it works. It's so interesting.
Yeah, it's been theorized for quite a long time. I think that Isaac Newton was one of the guys who actually dabbled a little bit in this.
Wow.
So there has been a theory that something like this has existed for a long time, but it hasn't been until the modern computer that we've been able to actually use it and decode it. Because if you would do this process manually, it would take like 100 years or something for one search term, because you'd have to go back and forth so many times for every single term and letter. It's just so time consuming, but computers, they do millions of calculations every second. So
it's like the difference between an abacus and a calculator. It's like a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
So what have you seen? Some of the interesting things that you've uncoded or decoded. Some of the prophecies that maybe you've seen actually come true, and then also the flip side, not only the ones that come true, some of the ones that are still to come. Like what's some of the most interesting things that have popped out as you've explored these codes?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've done hundreds, if not thousands, of different codes. But I did think about a few, especially beforehand. There was one that I discovered. What it was it? So this was a dated code because you can search for dates also, year and date in Hebrew. And we found a date for was somewhere in December, I think, for 2013. And on that date, because the main search term extended to glacial, and there were other terms within the matrix like Israel, prophetic, and things like that.
End of days.
Yeah,
Apocalyptic father.
exactly. And on that day, like a month later, after we actually discovered it, Israel and parts of Egypt were hit by unprecedented and unexpected snowstorm. And you could see the pyramids were covered in snow.
Wait, hold on. I didn't even know that a snowstorm hit in Israel.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often.
That's what I was just thinking. That seems uncommon, sir.
Yeah, so we obviously didn't know exactly what's going to happen, just based on glacial and that day and Israel and everything. But it was pretty spot on,
Wow.
When that day came, we just understood. Well, this is obviously what it was about, Because sometimes prophecy is like you don't really know exactly how it's going to unfold until it happens.
Well, so prophecy is very much that way, and I've read a lot about different types of prophecy. In particular, it's always spoken. In your case, it's like a mathematical code, but even when it's not a mathematical code, it's almost kind of poetic in a sense too. Like I remember there's this prophecy, and it's a different religion, so I don't want to offend you guys, but there's a prophecy from the Quran from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and in the Quran it says that essentially calls that the Saudi Arabians are going to inherit oil money. And they're going to build these giant towers and these giant skyscrapers and things like that. But it's said in such a way that if you're not paying attention to what he's saying, you wouldn't catch it. So I think prophecy in general is very much written, not in code, but written in a way that you have to think about it. You have to interpret it. It's almost like a symbolic language of sorts, I think,
Yeah.
Quite often prophecy is delivered in terms that people of the time would understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they wouldn't have a word for the internet, and that concept would be very alien to them.
Yeah. So what? Now he mentioned. I'm just going to ask it because Cardinal Mathew mentioned it. So Emil he said something about JFK. Have you guys seen something about JFK in there?
Yeah, there's been. That's one of the codes that Michael Drosnin found. I think he wrote the book, the Bible Code, and he was like sort of a pioneer for the Torah Code thing itself. Yeah, and he discovered many codes. I think JFK was one of them. I think there was something about Syria and Assad. And the most famous one he found was the assassination of Israel's Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin, because he actually found that before he got assassinated, and he tried to warn him about it. But they wouldn't listen to him. He tried to, I think he even went to Israel and tried to contact his people, but they didn't believe and just brushed it off.
Wow.
And he got assassinated eventually.
Wow.
Just like the Torah Code had predicted. So.
Yeah. So, that's the other thing about prophecy. I don't think you can't escape it, even if you know about it. I think it's going to happen. I think.
It seems like it.
Yeah, it's prophecy. So I would ask you, Emil. I'm so interested in this part too, because I think this is also an important thing for people to know and understand, and why you have taken the Torah Code so seriously. Let's put ourselves in your shoes. It's 2012, 2013. You're on the internet. You hear about the second coming of Lord Rael, and at first it's probably something you're just like me. You're a human just like me. That involves doubt, uncertainty, fear. All those things are part of the equation, and you have to kind of investigate this thing for yourself. Now, there's something about it that's piqued your interest, but again, you're a human just like me. You want to look into it. So how do you go down that kind of discovery process and end up kind of validating, what you've it was so much that you've changed your life. You've moved. You've established a new life over this. That's a powerful testimony. What was it that helped you solidify that belief?
What it was for me, it wasn't. Actually, I've been an atheist all my life until I was like 25 or something like that.
You were an atheist?
Yeah. I'm from Sweden.
Wow.
I don't know if you know this, but Sweden is like 76% atheist. It's like #1 most atheist country in the world.
Is it really? I did not know.
It's like It's like China is jealous of Sweden in that regard. So yeah, so if you say you believe in God, they look at you like you're a crazy person.
I
But,
see. So culturally, it's almost a shame. It's a shameful thing there, almost. Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
yeah.
So then it's even your story's even more interesting. So how do you go there? How do you get there?
Yeah, so it's sort of a long story, but to make it not too long, I started having a life crisis. You know, I was discovering things in the world. Everything was going to shit, pretty much.
Yeah,
You know,
I
it's-
agree.
It's just
Emil, I
corrupt and
look
a lot-
around and all I see is shit sometimes, to be honest.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just corruption and lies, and everything's getting worse year by year, and no one's doing
Yeah.
anything about it. So I just had this deep depression and feeling suicidal, basically.
Oh.
And I need to give some credit to my friend who actually said, because I explained my despair to her, and she was like, "Well, I don't feel that way because I believe that Jesus is coming back," because she was like one of the few Christians I actually knew personally.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, so I was like, well, I better give this a chance. And it sounds crazy to me because I never really researched it. But I was like, well, I've given everything else a chance. I've done all this discovery, so I'm better look into this as well. And I started doing the research, and it all made more and more sense, you know, reading the Bible and everything, all the prophecies that been coming true and everything. And so I was studying on YouTube, and I was led to, at that time, the Seventh-day Adventists.
Okay.
And I went to their church for like a few months before I found another YouTube video, which was the, what's it called, the UN briefing video. That a lot of us, I think a lot of us saw that the first, like the first Lord Rail related video.
So
It's
wait,
like-
it's called. So I've seen the first video I saw of Lord Rael when I was looking into it. Because again, I'm one of those guys. Like I heard about this through a podcast, but it was a podcast that I didn't like the way they were talking about you guys. Because I in general,
Last
I
podcast
always-
on the left.
Thank you. You knew exactly what it was. That's it. And I did not like they were derisive. They were kind of judgy. And like I thought to myself, this was my biggest thing, Emil, and this is why I wanted to talk to Cardinal Mathew, talk to you, talk to anybody from the EOC. It's because I thought to myself, my whole life, I was raised in the Church of Christ. If you know any familiarity with the Church of Christ, I was raised Church of Christ. My dad's a pastor in the Church of Christ, and I was raised the whole time being taught that Jesus was coming back, right? And yet, every time somebody comes around and claims to be Jesus come back, everybody acts like it's the craziest thing to say. And I think to myself, well, if you're waiting for him to come back, why wouldn't you at least be interested in the person saying they've come back? Like, it seems to me that should be worth investigating, as opposed to, like I said, being derisive, being dismissive of it, because it's like, if this is your belief, if you truly believe Jesus is coming back, you should be looking around every corner for him. You shouldn't be trying to dismiss everything. So
And that's
that's
exactly
what
what Yeshua said too in the Bible, you know, be on your guard, and he comes like a thief in the night, and don't get caught unaware, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Satan's planted some things in the Christian doctrine that makes them think that we don't even need to look because everyone's going to know the instant it happens. But that's not the case.
But
So-
wasn't it the case when Jesus here the first time? Wasn't this what he dealt with the first time? Was people dismissing him, people not believing him, people calling him a blasphemer? There was it's like we're doing it all. You know what I'm saying? We're kind of doing it all over again, Emil. You know what I'm saying? We're doing it all over again. I don't
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
sad. It's sad how
2,000 years, and you think people would have learned.
Yeah, no, not at all. We're the same. I think we're pretty much the same the whole time.
Yeah, the world's still evil, like they were back then. And like I say, a lot of people would probably want to kill the Lord when he comes back now too, you know, because
So what did you see? So you're Seventh-day Adventist, and then you see the UN video. Now we discussed with Cardinal Mathew the video where they saw the light and the Fox News and all that. That we discussed that video. Was that the same video, or is this a different video?
that might have been in the video also. There was a lot of stuff. I think it's like 2 or 3 hours long, that video.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I
Okay,
did-
this is a big video. Yeah.
It's the same compilation one that I mentioned first time I was on.
Okay.
Yeah, but what actually made me maybe believe, and it wasn't actually the prophecy fulfillments or anything like that. It was just when I heard his voice and the content of his speech and what he said, his message, is what convinced me that, I mean, this is the guy. This is this is exactly what I expect from him. He was like pissed off at the world for being
Yeah.
what it is right now, and he gave all this very legitimate criticism about America and the world and the pharmaceutical industry and so many other things that
You don't
just
even
hit
know
so
what you're
spot
saying
on.
right now is very powerful to me. This morning, got in a big fight with some of my best friends because I'm so upset at the world that everybody just takes their pills, constantly taking their pills, and they don't question it. And it reminds me of like patience and like rats in a lab. Like just take your pills, don't question, just take your. It's like anesthetizing the world to emotion, anesthetizing the world to passion, anesthetizing the world to the corruption of the world in a way. You know, like if you're kind of zombified, you can't look around and see how messed up stuff is. You know, and so and the other thing that you're saying that I love, and I don't mean to railroad you here, I want to listen to you, but that people forget when I think of Jesus in the Bible, that's a revolutionary figure. That is a guy who flipped tables over in the temple. This was not a calm, hippie, peace guy. You know, this was not who Jesus was. This guy shook things up, you know?
But just remember, when you ask what would Jesus do, remember that flipping over tables and chasing people with a whip is within the realm of possibility.
Yeah, he did it. Exactly. So okay, so I want to get back to Emil, and so you see the video and you hear everything. At some point, you do look into the Torah codes. What do you see when you look into them?
Want to look for the Torah codes?
Yeah, when you looked into to find the name, I know the name Rael appears in there, I think, and like stuff like that. Like I'm just curious what you found out about that.
Yeah, that came after, but I got interested in it pretty immediately. Richard Ruff, our prime cleric, he was the main guy who knew everything about it, and I learned a lot from him, and I tried to do as much as I could on my own, and he corrected my mistakes and everything. And I found a lot of codes on my own too, with a lot of interesting stuff. Like King of Kings was one of those that I'm pretty proud of to have found.
Oh, you found a King of Kings in there?
Yeah, and there was like 8 different codes, and some of them were like doctrinal in nature, and they're pretty interesting. I don't know them all by heart right now, but and also King of Jews was also one, and just a whole lot of things. I've done so many codes I can't even remember them all.
Now there is a way, if I remember correctly, like there's almost a way people can look at these themselves and play. Am I misremembering that people can see this and experiment with this on their own kind of deal?
Oh yeah.
There is a software. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, all the codes we produce can be replicated by anyone with a similar software. It doesn't even have to be the same software, just a similar software. That's how it can be peer reviewed, and you can tell that we're not faking it or coming up with it on our own. It's there in the same Torah that's been untouched for 3,300 years. So yeah.
That's right. So maybe Cardinal Mathew, you can speak to this, or you can tell us how we can. One of the things I'd like people to do. This is why I tell people listening, because I know there's going to be as much interest in this as there was in the last one, possibly more. So what I want to tell people to do is this: never dismiss anything. Look into everything. And if these are available, and Cardinal Mathew can find us a way for us to provide that to you, maybe Ralph can put it in a link or something. But we want test it out for yourself. Test it out for yourself. Maybe you'll find out that you agree and that you see something and it speaks to your heart. And maybe you'll find that you don't. But never, ever, ever just never do anything without testing it and figuring it out and touching it and feeling it and thinking about it. Because as a world, if you want to talk about, and I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but if we're going to find unity and hope in a better world, we have to talk to each other and not be dismissive of each other and try to find the common ground. And if you guys are so strongly believe in this that you're saying, look at the codes yourself. Here's the program. Look at it yourself. To me, that means that's not only an act of faith, that's saying test it. You will see what we're seeing if you just test it. That's a powerful thing, I think.
Yeah.
The show notes for our first episode together have a number of links. There's one to the book we've got on Amazon, 3 of the videos, including the WikiLeaks one that Emil mentioned and I mentioned last time. and there's one for the Bible Code software that we use, which is just the BibleCode.app. But if you're anyone that wants to look at the
So Ralph, if
links,
you can do me a favor when you edit this podcast and post it, if you can maybe make a graphic at the end of this episode, literally a graphic at the very end, Ralph, that lists where people can go check this stuff out, because I really think that's what people need to do. I think people need to really look into this because it's so interesting, and it's not only like you said, Newton has thought about this. This is a thing people thought about for so long. I think just not even just the EOC. I think this is bigger than the EOC. The codes,
much bigger, yeah. I was about to say something, and I had a complete mental blank. That happens more often. That happens more often than you'd believe.
Yeah, it's okay. It happens to me all the time, man. It'll come to you. It'll come to you.
That's it.
Okay.
I just remembered there was one other code that Emil, when I was talking to him earlier today, that Cardinal Emil mentioned that he wanted to discuss.
Yes.
And it is one of the most important ones that we have. And there have been many others that have had similar terms come up. But Lord Rael, his birth name is Raymond Elwood Howard Lear.
Mm-hmm.
Howard Lear, two surnames hyphenated. But one of the codes we've got, I think it was Richard that did it. The term he put in was, "He is the Messiah." And then an extension came up, which Richard didn't put it in himself. The software automatically detected that it was there.
Wow.
And that was for first initial R and then Lear. R. Lear, he is the Messiah, is what it is.
Wow.
And if you look at the terms that were found, it's deliberately done in a way where only the most definite terms are actually marked, which is part of the way Richard specifically teaches to do it, to eliminate confusion, basically, or things that are just there at random. But one of the terms found near search term is Yeshua, salvation for you.
Oh, wow.
Another one is our master, our teacher, image, the image of our master and teacher. Nobility and sailor. When he was a teenager and a young man, Lord Rael was actually in the naval cadets, and he went on to become a CB in the full-fledged Navy. There's also other terms like prediction and prophecy. Is it not so? That's what that one extends to.
Oh, wow.
And,
It says, is it not so? Wow.
Yeah. The number of codes that we've had, I think that was one of the earliest ones, and the number of codes that we've actually had come up since then, with some variation, but just given the nature of Hebrew, there's a few different ways that Rael or Lord Rael can be spelled, but all up with actually...
That brings up a question I wanted to ask you guys before I forget, is because the Bible's been translated 800 different ways, right? What is the translation we're using that we're basing the Torah codes off of? Is it the Septuagint, or what is it?
Well, it's primarily the New Testament that's been translated like hundreds of different ways. The Torah, there is only two different translations, and that's the Leningrad and the Masoretic, and the software actually gives you the option to search either of them.
Oh, and it kind of works with both of them. It can work with both of them. Wow, okay,
yeah.
Okay. Good point. I did not know. By the way, Cardinal Mathew, learning something. You always hear the translations of the Bible. I didn't realize it's mainly the New Testament that's just translated 1,000 different ways.
We generally prefer to... Sorry, go ahead.
The original Hebrew has been, for 3,300 years, they've meticulously, letter for letter, just copied it since the original. Nothing's been changed. All the letters are exactly the same since it was written, which is
wow.
Yeah, more than you can say about the New Testament.
Hey,
because that's
hey,
been...
New Testament, you gotta worry. I worry about the New Testament. When I see a Bible version that says a king's name on it, I go, well, what are we doing here? Why is a king involved in this at all?
We generally prefer to use one of the very few. There's only a handful of different ones, Aramaic,
Okay,
because
yeah.
this is what the Ethiopian Christian churches use,
See,
and
now that church, to me, I think that church is powerful because they have 88. They have the whole Bible. They have all the
yeah,
Bible. Yeah.
and the Aramaic language is what was natively spoken in Jerusalem 2,000 years
Oh,
ago.
they would have been saying, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that language has hardly changed at all in the last thousands of years. By contrast, you've got all of these 800 commonly accepted versions of the New Testament. They all derive from, or mostly at least, derive from notes that were taken by scribes that were paid for by the Jewish priesthood. Now, those scribes wrote things down in Koine Greek, so ancient Greek. It wasn't even their own language. So they were writing things, recording this stuff in that was their second language to begin
A
with.
non-native language, yeah.
And then over time, it just gradually got translated through, like, in addition to the multiple councils of Nicaea, where they deliberately removed whole passages and books and stripped out so much information.
A lot of stuff that happened in that council Nicaea seems very questionable to me when I was reading about it. And there was this guy, and you'll probably know about this guy if you know Bible history like this. His name was Arius, and they turned this guy into a heretic. He was I think he was like a pretty. And if you were Seventh-day Adventist or Jehovah's Witness, there was this guy. They really he had this belief. There was it wasn't really questioning the Trinity, but was saying the Trinity was different than the way they're interpreting the Trinity. And just because he interpreted it differently, they basically cast the guy out of the. It all happened at the Council of Nicaea. It was crazy to me. They were labeling people heretics left and right. They were casting people out left and right.
Yeah, and they wanted doctrines that very much suited the Catholic Church as well, and their purposes and their power structure.
And if you got to think about it, at the time, the Catholic Church was kind of the government. That's kind of the government at the time, So yeah.
I mean, all the kings and everything, they answered to the Pope pretty much,
Yeah.
Couldn't get married without his permission, and if they got excommunicated, they were free game for anyone else and stuff like that. So.
Now, so I want to ask you guys, since it is, you guys seem to be very interested in religion like me, very interested in, the Bible like me. Have you guys ever done anything with the Talmud? Have you ever looked at anything with the Talmud? I've only looked at a few things. It's very interesting to me because it seems to me a podcast. It seems to me 4 or 5 rabbis kind of argue with each other about the meaning of everything. But
yeah, I've read.
Personally, it's still on my to-do list.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing when you start reading it.
I've read parts of it, but I've noticed actually it's kind of hard to find if you try to Google it.
Yeah.
And I think that's very deliberate because it's very scathing towards some people, like Jesus and his mom.
Oh, there's some stuff in it that's scary.
Gentiles.
There's some stuff in it, yeah. And again, I think it's guys, that's one thing I think is misunderstood though, is I don't think it's scripture, it's supposed to be interpreted as scripture. It's like a series of rabbis kind of arguing with each other about what scripture is, I think. And some of them say some very wild things in it, some very wild things. The other thing that I wanted to ask you about, and I'm curious how you feel about this, because it's something that's really kind of bothered me lately, is just in the modern world, when you talk about corruption looking around the world to us, I really do feel like there's this strong sense of, from both the right, the left, the center, everybody pretty much. There's a very strong contingent of anti-Semitism in the world right now. Do you guys feel that or not feel that? Or what's your thoughts on that? Because it's bothered me to a certain degree.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable with the internet and the free flow of information right now, because a lot of the things that they've done in history and what's happened, they've been able to put a lid on. Because they've controlled the outlets and I mean, if I'm allowed to say this.
Hey, Cardinal Emil, free reign. Say whatever. I've said the craziest stuff on the show.
Yeah.
I can tell Cardinal Mathew has thoughts. I can tell by the way he's holding his hand. So I want to hear it all.
Yeah, but with the internet, everything's been opened up for the free flow of information, and people can put up a website or a podcast like this, and talk about whatever they want, pretty much. And
Yeah.
And I mean, the truth's going to come out, and it's not always a positive thing for everyone.
Yeah, that's true. What do you, Carter, Matthew? What are your thoughts? You popped when I said something. What are you thinking over there?
Oh, I'm going to get myself in trouble here. But I'm going to say it because it's the truth, and I'm not afraid of the truth.
You should never be afraid of the truth. Yes.
The people of the modern world who call themselves Jews, a large percentage of them are not.
Oh, okay.
Traditionally, biblically speaking, the Jews are the descendants of the 12 tribes.
Yes, this is a big thing, and after the diaspora, they get separated. We don't even know who's in what tribe anymore. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, there is a very strong school of thought, and I tend to subscribe to it, that essentially anyone of European descent. I think
you would say, if we're being fair, that'd be called the Ashkenazi kind of, would be, yeah.
The Ashkenazis are entirely converts. They are not Jewish by blood at all.
Yeah. But that's kind of your Eastern Europe, your European Jewish. Yeah.
It's actually the region that they came from originally is what is now known as Crimea.
Well, okay, so that's where. Okay, that's helping me out geographically. Yeah.
And this is just a little bit of obsessive fanning from me, because I'm a massive fan of the original Highlander movie.
Hey,
now,
except for never watched 2. Don't watch The Quickening.
No. One of the worst movies ever made. But the original Highlander, you remember the villain?
Yes.
Never named, he's just referred to as the Kurgan. And
man, you're gonna give me a Highlander after this, Carter. I swear to God, I got it on VHS. I'm gonna watch it after.
There is a scene where Christopher Lambert's character asks Sean Connery's character, Ramirez, who the Kurgan is and where he comes from. And Ramirez says the Kurgans were, what was it? An ancient people from the steppes of Russia, which is Crimea. For amusement, they would toss children into pits with hungry dogs to fight for meat.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Now, not only still today in Crimea, there is a region by the name of Kurgan, but there is also an Ashkenazi Jewish surname, Kurgan.
Wow. Highlander was doing some high level stuff, man.
High level anti-Semitism, or supposed anti-Semitism there. But I'm not saying there's a connection. It's pure coincidence.
Well, that is interesting, and I'm very interested in hearing that, and I will be watching Highlander later, trust me.
I probably will too.
It's a great movie. Can't get around it being a great movie.
I'm looking forward to the new one.
They're making a new one? They're doing a...
Yep.
Oh, no.
Filming a reboot right now.
Have they announced the cast or anything? Who's...
Henry Cavill as Connor, which I'm still not completely sold on myself, because he's in his...
He was not a great Superman.
I disagree with you on that one, but, I respect it. But I don't know. I like Henry Cavill as an actor. Yeah. I don't know if he's the right choice for the role, because Connor is supposed to be like 18 years old when he goes into his first battle and becomes physically immortal from that point. So he should not physically age beyond the look of an 18-year-old.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. As long as it's not Tom Holland, I'm happy. I think Tom Holland is in far too many movies. I don't know what's going on there. He's fine as Spider-Man, but when I watched The Odyssey, and he was in The Odyssey too, I'm going, I don't need Tom Holland in every movie, please. Thank you very much.
I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it yet.
It's actually a pretty interesting movie. It's really long. It's really long.
That's what she
It
said.
was a good movie.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Cardinal Emil, I want to ask you one question and I don't know, Ralph, are you even here? Ralph has disappeared. I think Ralph was having technical issues, so we might all just be hanging out together, even though the guys. So, okay, Cardinal Emil, I want to ask you this question. We asked Cardinal Mathew earlier. He had a great answer, an answer I never expected. I made a pizza right before we started the podcast, okay? And it was a great pizza. I love making pizza. What is your preferred pizza toppings, Cardinal Emil? What do you like on your pizza? And you're from Sweden, so I'm interested in where this goes. I wonder what the Swedes are eating in their pizza. I assume a lot of herrings.
Well, the best pizza, obviously, is a kebab pizza.
A kebab?
Kebab pizza.
Tell me about it.
That's what we have in Sweden. It's very popular. It's a kebab meat, lettuce, tomato, kebab sauce, and tomato sauce and cheese, of course. Yeah.
And it's got
That's
lettuce
great.
on it?
Yeah.
You've had Cardinal Mathew. You've had one of these?
No, but I am a fiend for I'm a fiend for kebabs.
It's
Yeah,
delicious.
well, you're right. Who doesn't like a good kebab, dude?
I mean, if you go to a pizzeria in the west coast of Sweden, and you see how many different pizzas they have on offer on the menu, it's like 100 different pizzas with different toppings.
Wow.
You get everything from tuna to chicken with peanuts and banana and whatever, and the pineapples and stuff too.
Well, he was just talking. Cardinal Mathew was just talking about banana on the pizza that he liked. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I didn't even know that was an option until today. Never knew that was an option. So we learn something new every day.
And what was your favorite pizza then?
Me? Before I knew about the banana. I'm a guy. I do like pineapple, jalapeno, and Canadian bacon with like a little sweet marinara sauce. That's what I like. But
Sounds good.
But I have had a white. If you've never had it before, there's a white clam pizza that's really good too, like with white sauce clams on it. That's a good pizza if you've never had that. But now I'm just trying to be interesting now because you guys' pizzas were way more interesting than mine. So I do want to ask you one more question about Sweden. Well, I have never talked to me and Ralph have done this show, and we've ended up talking to people all around the world. We have somebody from the UK on the other day, and I'm curious about the only thing I've ever heard about Sweden, and I gotta ask, or is it like, okay, two things I've heard. One, a lot of metal music, like Swedish metal. Is that a thing? Like the black metal that's big there?
Yeah, black metal is more of a Norwegian thing, but yeah, there's some black metal in Sweden too, and power metal and all different kinds of metal. A lot of
That's
music.
right. Yeah, I just think of it as heavy metal. I think heavy metal Sweden. The other thing is just crazy hot chicks. Is that a thing too? Is it just the hottest chicks ever?
Yeah, there's a lot of hot chicks. Yes, that's true as well.
Jeez Louise, man.
I had a couple of them.
Do you guys ever miss your homeland? Do you guys ever go back to your homeland? Or are we glad to be away from them?
Sorry, you go first.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I miss. Friends and family, obviously, and some things like lingonberry jam that they don't have here, and they don't have caviar here. It seems like, which is a big thing where I'm from.
Well,
so
fish. I had a Swedish Christmas one time with some Swedes from Kansas, because I guess a lot of Swedish people settled in Kansas, and I had to take the pickled herring and put it in my lip, and let it dissolve. I don't know if you've ever heard about this before. But
I never heard about that before. But
it was like a tobacco thing. They made me put pickled herring in my lip and let it dissolve.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad though. It wasn't bad. And then I had a fish gravy, which I think was called a lunafisk. A lunafisk. Have you ever heard of a lunafisk gravy?
No, lutefisk.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Lutefisk or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Christmas thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fish that basically doesn't taste anything at all.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
I had
slimy.
that. That's the Swedish stuff I've had. So.
Yeah.
But you know
I
what?
thought we were more well known for the surströmming, but the fermented herring.
Yeah. So I want to ask you the question I asked Carl Mathew, because it is a true thing. I think it's a very true thing. When you believe something, when you have a faith in something, and to a large degree, a firm belief, and I do believe this, a firm belief sometimes causes you to do things people don't understand, right? People don't always understand when you have a firm belief and you pursue that with all your heart. And so have you found it that your friends and family have had a hard time understanding your life's journey, or have they been understanding about it? How's that been for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, every time I talk to my mom, she cries basically, and she's like, "You need to come home now. You need to come home now." And the rest
That's-
of they all
That's
pretty
tough.
much
That's
think
probably
I'm
tough.
crazy.
You
I
know,
think.
that's probably a tough thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but I have to follow my heart. I have to be honest with what I believe in and what I feel like I have to do. What's most important to me, or I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to live with myself.
Yeah, and that I agree with that. And in a weird way, it's like kind of like you understand their perspective because they may not have the same viewpoint that you do. So
Yeah,
you
I
understand.
mean,
it to
I've been
degrees.
like them. I was the exact same way.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you almost say, and this is what I feel like, and what I wish. This is what I wish for my own decisions I made in life, for the people that love me, that have a hard time understanding my life. And what I try to tell them is like, please understand that I came here to this point in my life through a lot of hard work, a lot of really deep dives, a lot of really trying to understand myself and being aligned with myself. Because I've been out of alignment with them. I've been out of alignment with myself before. And when you're out of alignment with yourself, you're self-destructive, you're mean to people, you're harmful, you're putting harm into this world, you're thinking about harming yourself because you're not being honest with yourself. You're not being authentic to your experience. And so it's like, if they love you, the best act of love is to just accept and understand this is my journey and this is what I got to do. And in a weird way, if people can love you in that, that's the most powerful form of love in a way, I think,
Yeah, my parents are kind of like that. They're like, well, they're kind of happy if I'm doing what makes me happy.
That's good.
So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And I don't want
Well,
to
I don't
hoggle
know. I think Ralph left us abandoned here, so I guess I'm going to wrap up the show. But like, is there anything that we didn't get to, Cardinal Mathew? Because I'm open to talking a little longer if we missed something.
Hey, I've got all night. I could stay here. I'm in no hurry.
I hear you.
See, in answer to your question, at least for myself, I miss what Australia used to be. I've watched it sort of gradually go to shit over the course of my lifetime. And
What? Now we've had a lot of Australians on the show, and what would you say the difference is between Australia then and Australia now?
Now, it could very well be that just as I've gotten older, I've become aware of more, and a lot of it was shit that was just always there.
Yeah.
But I remember a time, like when I was a kid, when this is going to sound like a cop out. I don't even know how to put it into words. That it just seemed like generally a better place.
Yeah.
But I look at it now, and well, not anymore. But I can't see it directly anymore.
Well, and I kind of relate to you because I think all the time I was a '90s kid, right? A '90s kid, and I think about what a beautiful decade that was in these United States of America, like a beautiful decade, and might have been a beautiful decade worldwide. But it was like right when the internet was still cool and the internet was still kind of innocent. And we got all these kind of cool new things, and there was a good economics. And the biggest scandal in the 90s was we had a president that had a sex scandal. That was the biggest, worst thing ever. We had no wars. We weren't going to killing terrorists. We weren't starting problems overseas. It was a time of peace. And it's like I miss that feeling of hope. I almost miss hope. I got to be honest with you. I almost miss the feeling of hope. I really kind of do. And
Actually, that's a good way to sum it up. I think a complete absence of hope.
Yeah. That got dark fast, didn't But I feel you. I think to myself now at this age, I'll start to feel that little tinge of hope, and I'll go, don't let yourself get caught up in that. Yeah. Because life, I think if there's anything we all on this call can identify with, it's that life is really tough and hard and puts you in some weird places. And sometimes you've got to find something that you see as truth and something that you see as valuable and something that you see as worth pursuing so that you have a sense of purpose again in this life,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And by the way, that's what I say. Again, I'm not like a part of your church or anything, but when I talk to you guys, I think the commonality is, and the thing I respect about both you guys taking this time and talking to us is in a world where so many people just talk, and so many people, they'll run their mouths about everything, but they don't change a single thing about their lives. Not one single thing do they change. And they play victim in their minds all the time, play victims. But if people see something, believe something, and they act on it, and they put skin in the game of life, I mean, both of you guys, I hope you understand, like, that's powerful to me, because that means that there are still people out there willing to risk judgment, willing to risk anything to follow their heart and follow their beliefs. And that's a powerful thing. We need that times 1,000 in 2026, I think.
One of the problems I see with the world is there are too many people, far too many people whose first priority above, like far and above anything else, is themselves.
Yeah.
I've always, at least for the majority of my life, I've looked at the world through the scope of what can be done to make things better for everyone, large scale. I don't care if there's someone I know, someone I don't know.
Yeah.
Things can be done better. And if it weren't for capitalism, like it's okay, I have to admit, it's probably served its purpose in getting the world to a certain state, but it is an outdated
Well, you know what?
way of doing
It's
things.
time for some new. I think we need some new ideas. We got to get some new ideas now, because we really did. Here's what capitalism gave us: some of the coolest technology that humans have ever had. I'm right now live streaming on like 6 different platforms, thanks to Ralph, through my phone. We're talking to people I would never be able to talk to otherwise. We were able to connect across the world. It's a beautiful thing. And so there is that. But then there's also like, okay, we got there. We're here now. How about we figure out how to start caring for each other and loving each other and not trying to get one over all the time on the other guy, you know?
There's this sort of leans into the way Lord Rael has described to us his vision for what the world will be in the future.
I want to hear. I think this is a perfect thing to. If we want to wrap it up at some degree, I think I want to hear this. Let's do this. Tell me that, because that seems important to hear. I want to hear that.
Okay, well, I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of final judgment, even if you may not agree with it.
No. I grew up in the church. I know all about it. Yeah.
Okay, now we are currently looking at the majority of Christianity believes, well, those at least, things are changing, but up to fairly recently, the majority of the Christian world that believe in an end time scenario have looked at it that, the millennial reign is coming soon, and that the judgment of Christ and all that kind of thing. Now, we've actually been seeing an increasing amount of evidence in recent months, and one of our cardinals, William, has actually been amongst the EOC, the first one that brought it up to us. This idea that the millennial reign actually happened beginning in kicking off initially around 70 AD.
Oh, wow.
Now, beginning with, or following shortly after the destruction of Jerusalem.
So yeah, I was just thinking about that, because if I remember when the Gospels were written, because the Gospels weren't written always at the same time as Christ. So I think it was the Gospel of John that was written around 70 AD, if I remember correctly. It might have been a little after that, but I remember it being written, and that's the one where we get the miracles. That's where when we get the Gospel of John stands out from the other 3 Gospels. It's the non-synoptic text, I believe is what they call it.
And there is even a well-known historian whose name escapes me right now, who described an event in the sky that almost sounded like a spacecraft attacking.
Similar to what we saw in 2012, when you saw the video in 2012, similar to that.
Which video?
I'm sorry, maybe 2012 is the wrong year. The one where the light appeared above the temple.
Oh, 2011. Yep.
2011. 2011.
The descent above. Yeah.
And I
that
envision
I
a
thought.
similar light to that. Yeah.
Anyway, like when you look at, there's a lot of buildings around the world. Josephus, thank you. Eric just told me, a historian who, detailed a lot of things accurately about that time,
Yeah.
and he spoke about this. But then you look at the world, and there's these buildings that seem ancient beyond the time that they're claimed to be, that have these copper domes on the top of them, and the whole Tartarian civilization theory that's becoming more and more
I've been
prevalent
hearing
in
a lot
popular
about
culture.
that lately. Hearing a lot about that. Yeah.
And the way we're seeing it, there's a lot of evidence pointing to the fact that those structures and those cities were part of what we would understand to be the millennial reign of Christ.
Wow.
And what we're actually coming up to now is the final judgment, which is a much more scary concept,
Yeah.
because that shit's permanent.
Yeah. That's the one. Yeah.
There was a point I was trying to come to with that, and now
Well, you were telling me all about Lord Rail's vision. I know that's where you were.
oh yes. Now, okay, his intent is for. I'm sure you're familiar with the term utopia,
Yeah.
and is basically a complete paradise where everyone's happy and no one has to do anything, and people walking along down the street with rainbows coming out of their ass and things like this.
This is going to sound heterodox, and maybe you disagree with me. That always sounded a little boring to me, Card and Mathew. That sounded a little boring.
Yes, because it is too perfect and it is not realistic.
Yeah.
You can strive for a paradise, but it can't be a paradise for everyone. Because just imagine, and I can't remember if we've spoken about this before, but there are actually teachings that Christ gave 2,000, well, prior to the crucifixion. I won't say 2,000 years ago, because I can't really say for certain that it has actually been 2,000 years.
Well,
But
that's they don't ever quite know. They'll say, well, it was maybe the year 3 AD he was born, maybe it was the year 0. They never quite know, right? Yeah.
well, according to the calendar that Afghanistan uses, we're in the year 1300 somewhere.
Yeah. There are so many crazy calendars out there. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
When it comes to judgment and things like that, one of the ideas that has been removed from much of Scripture is the idea that reincarnation is a thing that Christ spoke about 2,000 or in that period.
Oh wow.
And there's only one brief mention. I think it's in the book of Mathew, where Yeshua himself identifies that John the Baptist is a reincarnation of the prophet Elijah.
Oh wow.
And we have actually also seen, now this is another, I have to be careful on this part, but there is also a phenomenon in the Torah Codes where they have identified people who are alive today and identified them at the same time as people from the past, like biblical figures.
Wow.
Like Moses, his brother Aaron, John the Baptist, yeah. There's even codes supporting that scripture about him being Elijah. Enoch, as in one of the more well-known books that's still in the Ethiopian Bible. The
Book of Enoch, where it actually also kind of describes a flying saucer of sorts in a bit of that.
Yeah. Anyway, getting a little bit off track. When it comes to having the closest thing you can realistically achieve to a paradise, if you've got people on Earth who, let's just say hypothetically, have reincarnated multiple times and have never learned anything, they've just been a piece of shit their whole existence.
For eons, for 30
Yeah.
lifetimes, they've been a piece of shit.
You can't have a person like that in a paradise. They're just going to drag the whole thing down, muddy the whole pot.
Yeah.
And so this is what the concept of judgment is about. The people who have earned it by putting in the effort to improve themselves get first shot at entering what is referred to as the new kingdom.
Wow.
And there's, again, it's a popular line among Christians that they're saved by faith alone. That comes from Paul.
See,
Christ
by the way,
himself said,
again, I don't know if we're going to disagree here. I hate that thing because I think that's an excuse for people not to do shit. I think that's an excuse for people
yes,
to just go, it's like the whole thing of like, all you have to do to be saved is like say, I believe in Jesus. Like, that's all you have to say. Like, that, I don't like any of that. Yeah. I don't.
no, we're in total agreement. You're in agreement with the entire EOC.
Hey,
Faith,
I know that. I love you guys. Come on now.
faith without works is dead.
I love
Yeshua said
what
it.
I think. Yeah.
And but being your brother's keeper is a fundamental lesson that was preparation for the new kingdom, putting others before yourself. And if everyone in the society puts everyone else before themselves, everyone is cared for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that.
That's beautiful.
Then
And
there's a lot of things that are being introduced technologically, like monitoring wise, that are currently in the hands of people that no one really wants to trust, like the governments, like the flock
all
cameras.
that, like, Palantir, I have Sauron stuff. That freaks me out, man. It's even like it's like named after nefarious stuff. You know, it's like named after, it's almost saying we're demons. Hello, we're demons. It's what it sounds like to me.
I think it was actually maybe about 8 to 10 years ago. I think it was Phoenix in Arizona introduced an automatic monitoring system for all of their traffic cameras and lights and all that kind of thing, all integrated into one system. And do you know what they named this thing? Skynet.
What is it?
Skynet.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, come on now. Come on now. That is too on the nose. That is too on the nose, dude.
But think about it. These systems, obviously, very few, if any, people, while they are under the control of governments that we know are corrupt,
yeah,
no one feels safe being monitored at every moment of the day. Think about that same system applied under the direct supervision of Christ and those that he trusts.
Yeah.
But these things are preparations.
People.
Sorry?
Yeah, moral people.
Yeah. A moral leadership.
Yeah.
So it changes the whole scenario completely. And even then, it probably, more than likely, these systems won't be monitored directly by humans, but by AI advanced way beyond anything we can imagine now. And the only thing that these AIs are programmed to look for is dishonesty.
Yeah.
Everything else is just fine. Go about your day. You're not hurting anyone else. Fine. Enjoy your life. The only things that this system is going to pick up on is when people are trying to do things that will harm others of the society.
Yeah.
So through a system like that, I brushed on this last time, many laws can just be simply stricken, if not the vast majority, and bring it back to what Yeshua himself said 2000. Well, back then, prior to the crucifixion, love God and love each other.
That's it, man. That's it. That's it.
You eliminate the need for at least much of what we would call a police force. And
I don't even think, in a weird way, I think things like that make people worse. I don't know how to describe it. I think when, like, the idea that you're going to be punished for violating the law, or the cops are looking at you, or there's cameras watching you, for some reason I think that makes people more corrupt. I don't know how to describe it, but I think a surveillance state, yeah.
But when you've got a collection of people who have been chosen by a higher power to live together, deemed by a higher power that can see into their hearts, who knows their very soul, everything that every single one of these people have ever done, and they're all grouped together.
Yeah.
And everyone else is living beyond the walls of that city, basically in a Mad Max scenario.
Yeah.
Actually, have you seen the movie Elysium, Matt Damon?
By the way, that's love that movie. That's my favorite of the Neil Blomkamp movies. Actually, I'll say this: I think District 9 is his worst movie. I love Chappie, and I love Elysium. District 9's okay, but Elysium is like his masterpiece to me. It's like the masterpiece.
Okay, think about that again. Same scenario where not only is there Elysium in orbit, but
Yeah.
it's not just it's populated by people chosen by God primarily.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, there are cities on Earth that are similarly populated.
Yeah.
But outside of them is these Mad Max type.
Well, and some people that might be the way some people have to traffic, right? Some people might have to traffic that way. And we hope one day that they'll have enough, if you were to say reincarnation, enough chances at bites at the apple that they can maybe be better eventually.
It's not to say that they don't have the opportunity to one day enter the kingdom, these more peaceful civilizations.
Yeah.
But how difficult that would be in a period like that compared to how it is now, I couldn't tell you.
Ralph, did you put a weird graphic up on the screen, Ralph? What are you doing, buddy? I can't even hear Ralph. Ralph, all we're seeing is goofy images and can't hear you.
Maybe that's what he's trying to tell us.
Well, here's what we're gonna do, Ralph. Can you want to try to come back in? What can we do, Ralph? How can we get you back into the conversation? You sound like muffled. You sound like a drive-through, like a really bad drive-through right now.
I can't even hear him.
Yeah.
Me neither.
How's that? Better?
I can hear you very quietly.
A scotch. You need to be much louder than that, Ralph.
You're like Patrick Swayze.
Hey, by the way, Cardinal Mathew, I want to say this. This is our second time having you on the show, and you can tell that we're getting comfortable. Like, this is now just like talking with a buddy. It's like talking with a buddy now. We're just shooting the shit now. This is great.
I'm enjoying it even more than last time.
That's what I'm saying. It's like there's a comfort level to it that we didn't have before because it's like more like an interview. Now it's like now we're all family kind of. I love it. I love it.
Let's go till dawn.
I gotta work, you crazy guy. But I want to say this, because Ralph, you're still having technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on, Ralph, but I'm gonna have to at least go to bed in a second. So I want to say this.
I understood.
It's important for me to say, and this is kind of Ralph. Did you lose him?
I can see Ralph. I can't see anyone else.
Okay. Yeah, Ralph. Now we can just see Ralph. We can just see you. Okay.
What the fuck?
Exactly. This is what I wanted. Ralph, stop clicking things.
Okay. The graphic. Right.
All right. Oh, there you go. That's nice. There you go. That's good. We need to show that to people. That's good, Ralph. You're showing the people the thing. Perfect. Perfect, buddy. So this, yeah, we're going to wrap it up by showing that. Okay. So I want to say this because it is, I hope people listen to this whole episode and they hear the way you talk about movies and the way you talk about Sweden and the way you talk about your lives and that they see the EOC and all its members as fully formed people just like us. Because in a world where everybody has some kind of interesting beliefs, everybody does, but most people don't talk about them. Most people keep them a little hidden inside. And so I hope that everybody will check out the Torah codes. I hope everybody will click on the links and listen to the full conversation that we just had. Because when you hear it, I think you're going to hear nothing but human beings connecting, human beings finding common ground, human beings in pursuit of a better future for all of us. And if you can't see the beauty in that, I don't know, like you, maybe you are one of those people who've been reincarnated 30 times and just, maybe you're never going to see it because it's a beautiful thing. Cardinal Emil, Cardinal Mathew, and I think there's a podcast, Cardinal Mathew, we have you on where all we do is talk Steven Seagal movies. That might have to be a whole separate We might have to talk movies sometime. You like movies. We might have to talk movies all night sometime.
Steven Seagal, I don't think that was me.
No, I threw that in. I threw Steven Seagal in.
Okay.
I was just suggesting we need to talk movies sometime. You seem like you like movies. I love movies. I love movies.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah. So anyway, Emil, thank you for joining us, sir. Really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Cardinal Mathew, as always, man, you are a pleasure every time, sir. Every single time, sir. And we'll keep doing it. Like, as long as you guys have fun doing this, bring other people on, share other people. We'll do this every now and then. We can, every now and then we'll just do this again because it's fun.
There is one, before we go, there is one last thing I would like to mention.
For sure.
And what the date today is, hang on, bad eyes. What's the date today?
The 26th.
26th. It was on the 11th of this month that we actually lost one of our cardinals. He passed away.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Thomas, his name was, from Scotland. And he was one of, no, I won't say one of, he was the best of us. He'd had some long-standing health problems that all seemed to come to a head sort of around the same time. And God had two options, either heal him or take him home. He chose to take him home, and I believe that is because we are close to the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's at the moment his family are actually struggling to get they want to bring his body back to Scotland.
Yeah.
And the cost of that, I think, is somewhere around between $15,000 and $20,000.
Oh my God.
And they've got about half of that at best.
Oh no.
So his Thomas's son has started a GoFundMe. So I would really appreciate it if we could share the link for that one as well.
Yeah, Ralph, make sure we do that, Ralph. We got to do that. And Ralph will do it. And I'm sorry for your community. I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry for your loss, sir.
It was
Just
a hit. It really
a small
was.
Correction. It was the 17th that he
It was
passed.
a 7th. It seems a lot longer than that, but okay, 17th. It might have been because it was around 11 o'clock. I'm getting my numbers mixed up.
Well,
Thank you for the correction.
I'm really sorry to hear that for your community. I'm sorry to hear that. And Ralph will share that link. We'll make sure people know about it. But for his family, yeah.
I would have brought Tom on eventually as well, and you would have loved him. He was a blast.
I bet so. Hey, Cardinal Mathew, keep bringing on members. We're loving this.
Yeah.
Anyone I can talk into coming on, I'll get them on eventually.
By the way, hopefully the more we have these conversations, the more comfortable people will be with the idea of coming on. I hope so.
I think that is happening.
Yeah. So we appreciate it, guys. I got to work tomorrow. Have a great night.
Thank
You
guys.
too.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Personally, I'm ready to do this again whenever.
Hey, you're always down. I love it. We'll do it again soon. I promise.
I
Bye.
will make myself available no matter when.
I love it. We'll see you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay. Appreciate y'all for joining us, and we'll do it. We'll have to do it again.
Awesome.
All
Thank you.
Thank you. And for Radio Ralph and Friends, for me, Radio Ralph, for JC, for Cardinal Mathew, and Emil Johanson. This has been Radio Ralph and Friends. I'm going to sign off, leave this up here for a second. And we'd like to have the guys back on whenever they are available. Again, thank you for everybody, and we're gonna wrap this one up.
Once upon a time, not that long ago, everyone everyone would gather round their transistor radios. There were zoo crews and shock jocks and boss jocks and pranks. There were callers and prizes, people with weird names. But that time it has faded.